a really easy block, and I think it'd be great as a scrap quilt. So I might even make me one of these. Scrappy Chevrons finishes at 12 inches. There are nothing in here but half square triangles. 3-inch finished half square triangles. Here's the diagram, and here are 4 blocks set block to block. This is a 4x4 grid, so it's 4 across and 4 down, and every unit in the grid is a half square triangle, and every one finishes at 3 inches. So that makes this a 12-inch block. Here's the cutting diagram. We're just cutting half square triangles. We'll cut a square, then we'll cut it in half once diagonally. And here are the patches you need. So for each chevron unit, you'll need 4 patches, or 4 half square triangles. And then the background fabric. I've used assorted in this diagram, but in my demo I'm just using one fabric, not assorted. Here are the AccuQuilt dies that will cut this shape. Here is a full quilt. It's 5 blocks across and 7 down at 60 by 84 inch finished. And then I give you a little instructions here on how to make the quilt. Also, since you're doing if you're doing a lot of half square triangles in your rotary cutting, you might consider using triangles on a roll or some papers. And here are the cutting instructions for the fabric. I'm going to use the 2 at a time method to make half square triangles, and that's what I'm going to demo. If you were making a scrappy quilt, you could easily use your 8 at a time half square triangle method. That way you can put one chevron unit in this block and the other chevron unit in another block, so you can mix them up and you can piece faster that way. But I gave you instructions of how big to make the square if you want to do the 8 at a time. Super simple piecing and cutting for this. You're just cutting squares. If you're AccuQuilt, you just cut patches and just sew the patches together and make your half square triangles. We have 8 squares for the accent fabrics, and 2 squares will make a chevron unit. And then we have 16 squares for the background fabric. You match a background square to an accent square. So we'll put 2 over here, and then these 2 go here. So for half square triangles 2 at a time, you take the light fabric and draw a diagonal line. Put the fabrics together, right sides together, and you're going to stitch a scant 1/4 inch on each side of this diagonal line. Now cut it in half along the diagonal line. You'll have 2 half square triangles, and you'll press the seams, either open or to one side. Now we trimmed 3.5 inches. Line the diagonal line on the ruler with the seam line. Make sure you have enough to trim on all 4 sides of the fabric, the top and side of the ruler, and then check your 3.5 inch mark here to make sure you have enough to cut off later. Turn this around. Now match your 3.5 inch here and here, and match your diagonal line on the seam line, and trim. And you'll have 2 half square triangles. Just repeat that with the 7 remaining pairs of squares, and you'll have 16 half square triangles. Now we sew our chevron units. Take all of the same color half square triangles and then lay them like this. Make a chevron unit. Sew these 2 together and these 2, press the seams, and then sew the 2 rows together. And do that for all of your half square triangles, and you'll have 4 units like this. Now we just lay them out how we like them. These are going around in a circle. You can lay them out however you like. And I think I'm going to switch these. Yeah, I like that better. Now we're just sew these 2 together, press the seams, and then sew the rows together. When I have these laid out, in order to take them to my machine, I flip this over and put a pin on this side because this is where I'll stitch, and do the same thing with this. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos.